Hi, my name's Jasmine, and I'm a sophomore student at the University of North Texas. I'm going to share some tips I have about dealing with stress. I'm sure you know quite well that stress is inevitable. So, how can we learn how to capture our calm rather than letting stress take over our lives? Whenever I encounter a stressful situation, I like to surround myself with things that I deem to be relaxing or comfortable, but unfortunately, I can't always do this. For example, if I'm at school and I'm encountering stress during class, I can't necessarily get under the covers and read a book or like just escape. So, escapism isn't always the best form of dealing with stress, but relaxation and calming yourself down is perhaps a more favorable way of going about it and more productive. Think about what exactly it is that's stressing you. What's stressing you the most? Think about how you can combat this stress. If there's a way to fix it, then try to think of the best way to fix it. If there isn't, then why worry? So that's the way I try to look at it. And then I notice I tend to catastrophize things and I feel like it's the end of the world. I forgot this, I forgot to do that. But if you put in perspective, is it really the end of the world? And like I said, there are different appropriate ways of dealing with stress, and sometimes your environment may not always be the most suitable for like a desired way of dealing with stress. You have your long-term ways of dealing with stress and then your short-term. Maybe a short term will be like the counting mechanism I mentioned before, or just calming yourself down in that instant. But something that's more long term might be thinking for the future. For example, let's say you're like really stressing out about a paper you have to type up, and you only have like maybe an hour left to type it up, and you still have to study. A long term way to deal with that stress is just to think about what are ways I could have had this taken care of. So maybe it's time management. Maybe that's a better way to deal with your stress. If you perhaps have more time to make time to do things like maybe go for a run or do yoga or stretching, I've realized that whenever I go to bed, before I go to bed, I start to stretch and I start to breathe slower, and that always helps me sleep better. I start to evaluate my health. Am I getting enough sleep? Am I eating well? Um, I've noticed whenever I sleep very little, I start to get very irritable and very stressed out. My freshman year, it was horrible because I was barely getting any sleep. There would be days that I would not sleep. I would just be so stressed out. I was not eating well, and that just increased the stress I already had. So, my advice to you would be to make sure you're eating well, a well balanced meal, and to make sure you're getting enough sleep. I cannot stress that enough. Those are just some things I try to think about when I'm stressed out. I just prioritize things. I try to relax myself and calm myself down. My school has various outlets for stress management and stress counseling. We have group counseling, individual counseling, and we have various events going on during finals that help us relieve stress, whether it be like music events or events with free food, which always relieves stress for me. So I would, during this time, I'd reach out. You're not alone. See who else, friends, counselors, people on campus who can help you out and help you relieve your stress. Because trust me, you are not the only person who's stressing out. So once you reach out, you'll definitely feel much better. So I hope this helps you, and I hope you're able to relieve your stress better.